Have you ever had a quiet day, yet somehow your mind still felt exhausted? Nothing dramatic happened. No major crisis. No difficult conversation. And yet, when the day ends, you feel as if you've been carrying something heavy. Sometimes, the weight isn't in your hands, it's in your thoughts. A conversation you keep replaying, a decision you're still questioning, a future that hasn't happened, but you've already worried about 100 times, a mistake you wish you could rewrite, or perhaps someone else's opinion that stayed in your mind much longer than it needed to. The strange thing about thoughts is that they can feel real even when nothing is happening in front of us. We can sit in a peaceful room and still experience a storm inside our minds. The Stoic philosophers understood this human experience remarkably well. They didn't teach people to stop thinking. They taught them to think more carefully, to recognize that a thought is not always a command, a worry is not always a prediction, and an uncomfortable feeling does not always require an immediate reaction. Your mind will produce thoughts every day. Some will be useful, some will be temporary, and some will simply pass through. The question is not, how can I stop thinking? The better question is, which thoughts deserve my attention? Because a lighter mind isn't a mind that has nothing to think about. It is a mind that has learned what not to carry. Most mental weight doesn't arrive all at once. It builds quietly. One small worry becomes another. One unanswered question leads to another. You remember something from yesterday. Then imagine what it might mean tomorrow. And suddenly, you're living in several moments at once. The past, the present, and a future that hasn't even arrived. Imagine receiving a message from someone. It's short, maybe even completely ordinary, but your mind begins filling in the gaps. Did they mean something by that? Did I say something wrong? What if they're upset? The message hasn't changed, but your interpretation of it has. This doesn't mean our thoughts are meaningless. It simply means that our minds often add stories to situations that may have many possible explanations. The Stoics encouraged a pause between an event and our judgment about that event. That pause matters, because something happens, and then we decide what it means. Those two things are not always the same. Think about a delay. You planned something carefully, but it doesn't happen on time. The event is real, but the story you attach to it might be, everything is going wrong. Nothing ever works out. This is going to ruin everything. The situation may be inconvenient, but the mind can make it much heavier than it needs to be. This is why the Stoic approach isn't about pretending that difficulties don't exist. It's about seeing them clearly, without adding unnecessary weight. One of the most useful ideas in Stoic philosophy is the distinction between what happens and how we respond to what happens. You cannot control every event. You cannot control every person. You cannot control every outcome. But you can practice examining your own judgments. Marcus Aurelius often reminded himself to look at things as they are, rather than immediately adding fear, anger, or assumptions to them. Imagine you're standing beside a river. A thought appears. What if something goes wrong? Instead of chasing it, you simply notice it. The thought is there, but you don't have to follow it downstream. Another thought appears. What will they think of me? Again, you notice it. You don't have to fight it, and you don't have to obey it. You can simply let it pass. This is an important difference. Lightening your thoughts doesn't mean forcing your mind to be positive. It means creating enough space to examine what you're thinking. Ask, is this something I know or something I'm assuming? Is this within my control or outside it? Does this thought help me take a meaningful action, or does it simply keep me worried? These questions can change the relationship you have with your own mind. You don't need to win an argument against every negative thought. Sometimes, you simply need to stop giving it more attention than it deserves. So how do we practice this in everyday life? Here are 3 simple Stoic-inspired habits. First, separate the event from the story. When something happens, describe it as simply as possible. Instead of saying, "Everything is falling apart," try, "This situation didn't go the way I expected." The second statement doesn't deny the difficulty. It simply leaves room for clarity, and clarity gives you choices. Second, return to what you can actually do. When the mind becomes overwhelmed, it often jumps far ahead. It tries to solve 10 problems at once. Bring it back. Ask, what is the next useful action? Not the perfect action. Not the action that guarantees a perfect outcome, just the next useful one. Sometimes that means making a decision. Sometimes it means having an honest conversation. Sometimes it means waiting. And sometimes it means accepting that there is nothing more you can do today. Third, give your thoughts somewhere to go. A quiet walk, a few minutes without your phone, writing down what is on your mind, sitting quietly before beginning your day. These simple moments can create distance between you and your thoughts. And when there is distance, you can observe your thoughts instead of becoming completely absorbed by them. You begin to realize something important. You have thoughts, but you are not required to carry every thought. Perhaps the goal isn't to have a completely quiet mind. Perhaps that isn't realistic. Thoughts will come. Questions will arise. Some days will feel peaceful. Other days will feel complicated. That is part of being human. The Stoic lesson is not to demand that life become perfectly calm. It is to become more thoughtful about what we allow to occupy our attention. You can acknowledge a difficult thought without building your entire day around it. You can learn from the past without living inside it. You can prepare for the future without constantly worrying about it. And you can care about other people's opinions without allowing every opinion to define your sense of self. The next time your mind feels heavy, pause. Take a breath and ask yourself, is this thought helping me, or am I simply carrying it? If it is useful, learn from it. If action is possible, take the next step. And if there is nothing you can change right now, perhaps you can allow the thought to pass. Because a lighter mind doesn't come from having fewer thoughts. It comes from having a wiser relationship with them. And sometimes, peace begins with something very simple. You don't have to carry everything your mind places in front of you. If this reflection gave you a new perspective, consider subscribing to Ancient Wisdom Explained for more timeless lessons from Stoicism, Buddhism, and other ancient traditions. Thank you for watching.